T-minus 10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. minus 7 minutes. T minus 6 minutes. T minus 5 minutes. T minus for minutes. T minus 3 minutes. minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Hey-o! Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. Wherever you're tuned in from. Oh, I'm fired up today. I'm ready to have a great show. Live on the Game Plus Television Network. I want to tell you that Moose sends his regards. He's at the Jeux Canada Games in Newfoundland. I spoke with him this morning. We have a very special co-host, a very adequate co-host, Les Lazaruk, joining us to co-host for the next 40 minutes, the voice of the Saskatoon Blades and Blades. And coming up in hour 2, my good and longtime friend Jim Lawson. He is Ontario sports royalty, the executive chairman of Woodbine Entertainment. The King's Plate is coming up Saturday at Woodbine. We're ready to go. Les, how about you? What's going on, brother? How are you? How are you?
I'm good. I'm adequate, like you said. I'm an adequate replacement, and that's how I feel, adequate today.
I think I said more than adequate, Les. Les, the voice. That's what I said. Don't go there, man. Oh, yeah. I'm still upset that his Saskatoon Berries beat my Moose Jaw Miller Express the other night in 10. By the way, we're going to actually open with baseball. I'll tell you right now, spoiler alert, of the Quick Six show topics, our number one is baseball, but it's going to be Blue Jays. But Les, you're a wash in Western Canadian Baseball League right now in the Berries, and good for you, man. Congratulations. How much fun is this?
Well, it's always a lot of fun. It's baseball, so that's fun right off the get-go. And once you get into the playoffs, that's even better. Any kind of playoffs is great. But right now, the WCBL playoffs and a couple of Game 3s, a Game 3 against Moose Jaw, as you alluded to, and then tonight at Next Gen Patch, Cairns Field here in Saskatoon, it'll be the Berries and the Regina Red Sox playing Game 3 of their best-of-3 East Division final. So it should be a lot of fun at the ballpark. It'll be a wild atmosphere again, so it's going to be great.
It's so much fun that you and I have the good fortune of being right in the middle of it, because I'm watching every pitch you did the other night, a 4.5-hour game. I'm like, Les, hang in there, buddy. Hang in there, because we're loving your call. But I know those can be some long nights. Listen, we'll come back around on that. But for the rest of the world, the Toronto Blue Jays open a 3-game series tonight against the visiting Chicago Cubs. Jose Barrios will be on the mound for the American League leading Jays, who are 4.5 games up on the Boston Red Sox in the AL East. Righty Ben Brown will be on the hill for the Cubs, who are second in the NL Central. Now, I know your team's playing, so I'm not sure how much you're able to follow what the Blue Jays have done lately. The series in L.A. was wild. They lost 2 of the 3. This is a 3-game series this week against the Cubs, and the Cubs are the wild card leaders right now. Great measuring sticks, Les, this week for the Blue Jays.
Oh, absolutely. Great measuring sticks. I mean, the Dodgers series showed that you just have to be that much better. What they did against Colorado, what they were supposed to do, sweeping them, scoring 45 runs, 63 hits, all those franchise records. You're supposed to do that against Colorado. But when you come up against the LA Dodgers and you face Ohtani and Betts and Freeman and all those guys in the pitching staff that they've got, you've got to up it that much more, even if it is only the beginning of August. The pennant race is on. You say it's only 4.5 games up on Boston. The Blue Jays have got, 5 of their next 7 series against National League teams. They've got the best record against National League teams in interleague play of anybody in Major League Baseball at 22-11. So they have to continue that sort of a run, starting with the Cubs here in the next 3 games in Toronto.
Well, I'm watching the other networks, okay? We got Game Plus, who clearly is Canada's number one sports network, let's be honest. But there are a couple other sports networks that talk about the Blue Jays too. And they're saying the exact same things we are over here. And that is, you go into LA and you basically hold your own, right? The first 2 games they lost and were outscored 14-2, but the finale on Sunday was wild. Everybody was on their feet in Chavez Ravine, but the pundits on those networks are saying the same thing. Who are these guys? Mason Fluharty. Come on, Les. He's not even a household name in his own house. Loferdino. Look, they're becoming heroes. But the fact that the Jays are doing this kind of tells me something. That John Schneider and the coaching staff he's assembled are getting the most out of these guys. And you know whose name I never hear? John Schneider.
Yeah. And then, well, you heard his name last year and the year before when they missed the playoffs because everybody felt that John Schneider, myself included, I'll say right now, I thought John Schneider should have been let go, that they had to bring somebody else in, maybe promote Don Mattingly from being the bench coach to being the guy that, is involved as the manager. He's been a former manager in the league. But having Mattingly beside Schneider, along with Pete Walker, that triumvirate really seems to have found their footing and really are clicking this year. And as a result, the Blue Jays are doing what they're doing. Mason Fluharty the other night, he's maybe number 10 on the staff as far as important pitchers, and yet he strikes out Ohtani and gets Betts to ground out to finish off the bottom of the ninth for his first major league save. That's incredible that sort of a thing would happen. But that's what's been happening for the Blue Jays this year. All their young guys, the Ernie Clements, the Addison Bargers, the Nathan Lucases, those guys have been outstanding this season, more so than Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and maybe not quite as good as George Springer and Bo Bichette, who have been fantastic this year, coming back from injuries and off seasons.
Well, I'll tell you, Don Mattingly is hallowed in South Florida for the work that he did with the Marlins. And even they say, hey, we never won, but nobody wins with the Marlins. They love Don Mattingly, going back to the Yankees days, of course. So, that's the thing, is a lot of things are coming together, and that's what you need to win a championship. We're a long ways away from that, but it's so much fun with Blue Jays baseball. By the way, we don't have a lot of time in this segment. Our viewers are getting very greedy, or they're getting ahead of themselves. They want to talk football topics, specifically the NFL. Mm-hmm. That's coming up after the break, okay? We got a great poll question on that. But a secondary poll question was this: should Buck Martinez be added to the Blue Jays Wall of Honor? And I kind of wonder why that's coming up. I don't know if you've seen it, Les, but it's on my radar. A lot of people are asking it. Well, of course Buck Martinez should be on the Wall of Honor. Played, managed, broadcasted, excellence at all levels. Yeah, put his name up there. What are we waiting for? Are you seeing the movement for that for Buck Martinez?
I haven't really noticed the movement yet, but just the fact that he's come back and was working with Dan Schulman on the TV broadcast back this past weekend in LA brings that sort of a thing up, I imagine. So, hey, I'm all for that. Buck Martinez, one of the greatest memories I have of him is as a catcher, breaking his leg, making a play at home plate, and then still being able to make a secondary tag on another guy trying to score. That was the way Buck Martinez was. He was tough as nails. He played the game hard. He played it honest. He was always that way as a player, as a manager, and as well as a broadcaster. He's honest as you can get.
I love his broadcasting. And maybe later on, today or tomorrow, I'll ask you. So many people say to me, how do you find broadcasting baseball? I'm like, it's awesome, but it's so different from what we're used to with hockey and football, because that's just so fast. But I think about Buck, I'd be cleaning the house and listening to him and cleaning the house. You know what I mean? Like they're not watching every pitch in baseball like we are the other sports. So you kind of need to be entertaining, but not as much. It's just fun. And Buck nailed it. And he's not even a broadcaster. He was a catcher, for the love of God, and a manager. We'll be right back with Les. And folks, yes, we'll get to that football talk you wanted, NFL, CFL, some hockey as well. We'll be right back. You're watching live on Game Plus TV and streaming.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help.
Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Nazareth's Canadian Farewell Tour is coming to Moose Jaw. Live at Temple Garden Center, October 17th. With special guest, Lee Aaron. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or sasktix.ca.
We're live on Game Plus Television all across Canada, coast to coast, and 32 U.S. states, and we have some very big broadcast news coming up in the next couple of weeks that's going to shake you to the core. Just hang on. And Les Lazaruk's with us, the voice of the Saskatoon Berries and Saskatoon Blades. I'm so grateful that he's joining us today on a game day, and I'm so happy the NFL is back. I'm so happy, Les. Just gives us one more thing to talk about. And our first topic was the Blue Jays. Our second topic was the Western Canadian Baseball League. My third topic is this. A Nevada court has cleared the way for a 2021 lawsuit filed by former Raiders coach John Gruden to proceed against NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell and the league. Gruden's lawsuit alleges that a malicious and orchestrated campaign was used to destroy his career by leaking old emails he had sent that included racist, misogynistic, and homophobic comments. I don't imagine this is much on your radar, but you know the story. And before we go any further, that's our poll question for EMJ Marketing today. Should John Gruden be reinstated? I'll give you my vote in a second. It's yes. I'll tell you why in a second. How about you, Les?
Yeah, I have a hard time with that one. I mean, if there's any truth to the emails that were sent and they were of that nature, then I tend to look at it and go, you know what? Man, you've got to be smarter than that with how you approach things in email form, because that's out there and that can easily be turned around on you. So you have to be a lot more aware of what you're doing and how you approach different people with different types of topics and different types of materials, and it has to be on the up and up. You cannot stoop to a bad level, if in fact that is the case. I mean, I want to see proof of the fact that those were bad before I say that, throw them away and throw away the key sort of a thing.
Well, That's probably less why you've had such longevity in your career. You don't act without thinking very carefully. By the way, before I go any further, they just fired up the music in here. Is it, producer Corey, is it all right, or should I yell at them to turn it down? Are you okay,
I can't
Les?
hear it. I can't hear it.
Well, it's going to take it. Hey! Hey! Turn that down a little, please. Well, Jesus, have a little common sense. Thank you. They only do it every day. Yeah. So to John Gruden, Les knows they're young men. We can speak to them that way, right, Les? I don't know if you do.
That's right. Oh,
I
yeah,
do.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm surprised
God
they didn't
bless.
give you I'm surprised they didn't give you a salute in return.
Trust me, we're good with these guys. We're very good with these guys.
Excellent.
It's a bunch of young hockey players. If I know how to talk to anybody, it's them. So to the Gruden thing, listen, the Raiders aren't hiring him. This is, I'm going to say yes because why? Les has known me since what, 1994? Is that when you showed up in Saskatoon, Les?
That's when I showed up in Saskatoon.
Yeah, I didn't fry all the brain cells, but I needed a lot of second chances, second, third, fourth, and fifth. And I don't mind admitting it. Yours and my good friend Lauren Mulliken said the same thing about himself. Where would we be if we didn't give second, third, and fourth chances to people as well?
Absolutely.
So that's where I'm at with Gruden. Did he do something ridiculously stupid? Yes. Does he deserve to be blackballed forever? No. And I don't know how much you follow this, Les, but I mean, from what I understand, he has got a big-time feud with the commissioner, Roger Goodell. I don't think he's going to win it. You're not the first guy to get blackballed, and you were dumb enough to give proof, right? What somebody said to me, Les, when this first came down, was that John Gruden should go into the locker room and address his players, especially the black players, who he made comments about, not them specifically, but about black people in those. You face them. Don't worry about the courts or don't worry about the public. Face your players. Yeah. But he wasn't even given the opportunity to do that. So that's my point on this. I voted yes. Did you say you voted yes? Again, the music was too loud.
Yeah, I was waffling a lot, but in the end, I'd probably say yes, just because of what you said with regards to requiring second, third, fourth chances. If I've had my share of second chances in life as well, and if I didn't have those, well, I still wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So,
well, there you go, open and shut, pretty easy case, huh? Now, but the flip side on that is, he is a great coach. He's doing great things in the media right now because I don't know if he's ever going to get back or not. I don't know, because the question now is, do you hire him? Because if you've looked at the power rankings in the National Football League right now, the New Orleans Saints are 32nd. They just changed coaches. Like, how bad do you got to be before you even bring in John Gruden? And are you willing to face the public backlash? Because there's going to be.
Yeah. Well, and I think in the case of John Gruden, his situation mirrors that of our good friend Mike Babcock in hockey. Same sort of a thing. I believe Mike Babcock should get a second opportunity. They gave him one, and unfortunately, it didn't work out well. And so now he's probably done, and he's probably okay with that. I know Mike got his place out in Michigan. Life is good. His kids are doing well, and when one of his sons is in professional hockey as a coach now, I think Mike is okay, and I think John Gruden will be okay as well. I think he just has to kind of maybe accept, even though it's wrong, it's unfortunate that he's not going to get the second chance, but let it go and just go on and be the best media guy, your best broadcaster, analyst, whatever the case may be that you can be, and stay in the game.
Yeah, well, tough to do. Tough to do for him
it is.
Because you know these guys, they don't want to be media guys. They want to be coaches. No. I've talked to them about, even if they're good at it, they want to be coaches. Right? It's not enough for them. And Gruden's young enough; he can do media forever. By the way, so I got two polls up right now on the should Buck Martinez be on the Blue Jays Wall of Honor? 93% saying yes, and should John Gruden be reinstated in the NFL? 91% say yes. And we have some interesting comments from our viewers here, some funny ones. Wayne in BC says, I agree with you 100%, Rod. People should not be blackballed for one mistake. John says, Michael Vick got a second chance. Why can't Gruden? I bring that up with Vic all the time, especially the London Five, the guys that were on trial for the World Junior case. I'm like, And that's still to be decided whether they come back and play or not. But I always say Michael Vick. The guy went to jail for 2 years and still came back and played. If there was ever a case of a guy that I didn't think would ever play again, it was Michael Vick. Now, different crimes, but still crimes. Michael Vick is like my barometer of the guy that came back I didn't think he ever would. You?
Michael Vick, different crime. How many years ago, though, are we talking? I think that's the other thing that has to come into play now, too, is time has changed and people's attitudes towards certain things have definitely changed. And, you can discuss whether it's a woke thing, whether it's a left-wing thing, whether it's a right-wing thing. It shouldn't be a political thing at all. But the fact of the matter is that how do people today view certain behaviors compared to what they did even 15, 20 years ago? It's different. It's a lot different. And what was good for Michael Vick 20 years ago isn't necessarily good for Michael Vick or anybody else doing those sorts of things today, in all likelihood. I honestly believe that those 5 guys in London, their playing careers are probably going to be in Europe somewhere moving forward, and never in North America again, like it or not.
91% of our viewers saying yes, John Gruden should be reinstated, and that's lovely. But who's going to decide this? So the court has said, you can pursue with a lawsuit that you've been blackballed. It's not saying he's going to win it. If this still comes down to Roger Goodell, who, from what I understand, does run the league. That's one thing I've learned since I spent so much time in America. And because I worked like you, in the WHL, and you've got your ties with the CFL, the commissioner doesn't run things in those leagues. The teams run the leagues, those leagues. That's right. In the NFL, it's like the president of the U.S. He's making the decisions. He is the commissioner. The commissioner will decide on John Gruden. It doesn't matter what we say. Anyways, we'll come back on this. Thanks for your thoughts, Les, as we move along to Week 11 in the CFL. That's point 4. Our poll tomorrow, because it'll be Wednesday, is what's Canada's game of the week. But I'll just lob this out to you. Here are the games. Thursday, Ottawa at Winnipeg. Friday, Toronto at Edmonton in a rematch of the 1996 Grey Cup. A Saturday doubleheader, Hamilton at Sask and Montreal at BC. Which one of those jumps out to you the most?
Hamilton Sask. And to me, that one is the battle of the 2 best teams in the CFL right now. Yes, we haven't hit Labor Day yet, when everybody, the old timers, would say, well, the league really doesn't start until Labor Day. And to a degree, that's correct, because so many things can happen, but it's so much earlier of a start that we're already past the midpoint of the CFL season. And here you are, Saskatchewan 7-1 and Hamilton 6-3. Hamilton really should be 7-2. They should not have lost the game that they did over the weekend. But hey, what happens happens. Good on Nathan Rourke and the BC Lions for being able to pull that out. But I really believe that the 2 best teams in the CFL are Saskatchewan and Hamilton as of this moment. And I think this makes this week's game at Mosaic, really, it is the marquee matchup of the first half of the season.
Oh, yeah. It was a trick question. What's the biggest game? Of course, it's Hamilton and Saskatchewan in a Saturday doubleheader. It's a battle of division leaders. Les mentioned their records. Is it a Grey Cup preview? Because I was saying last week, we always get ahead. Stanley Cup final preview, Super Bowl preview, World Series preview. It very rarely ever ends up being. You know what I mean? But do you think this will be?
No, and it won't. No, it won't be. No, it's too early to say Grey Cup preview. It is the marquee matchup of the first half, but it is not a Grey Cup preview because there's a lot of football left to be played in the second half. I mean, if Hamilton were to win, then Saskatchewan becomes 7-2, and you've got BC and Calgary right behind, Winnipeg not that far behind, nipping at their heels pretty quickly, and the Riders have a pretty big schedule upcoming here as well, starting with this game against Hamilton on Saturday.
I just noticed it's a 1 p.m. local kickoff. That'll be a good day for me to do anything if I want to go into Regina, because nobody will be doing anything. For those that don't know, it's like Alabama football. Everybody's going to be watching the game. So you go do whatever you want anywhere else around town, because all anybody's going to be doing is watching the game.
You figure Costco will be okay on that day?
All those
Costco's never okay.
All those places. Yep. Monty in Saskatoon writes in and he says, I can hear the music. Reg, You know Monty Les from your times in Saskatoon. Reg writes in, he says, tell them to get off your lawn as well. The music's loud, man. You'd think after all these shows that they could turn the music down a little bit. But yes. Daryl is watching in Calgary, and he writes in on the Western Dodge text line, totally agree with second chances. I've seen it many times in junior hockey. Some work out, some do not. But sometimes you roll the dice and take a chance. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I guess, so I voted yes. I've talked Les into voting yes. The question now is, do we ever see him on an NFL sideline again? That would be a deeper conversation, I think. You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think what you said about Rydell being the guy that runs football, I think in the long run, he'll find some way. Even if he were to lose the court challenge, he'll find some way to keep Gruden off the sidelines.
It's deeper. I mean, we've got some pretty deep football ties in America, and I'm not going to divulge them or even hint because people might guess. But from what I understand, it's a deep, deep issue between Goodell and Gruden. I won't even say why. Our business manager, Joe, just writes in. He says, I can't hear the music at all. Well, I think Monty had written in before I yelled at them to turn it down. I hope they're not upset. But you know what? I'm okay if they are. We've got a show on national television to do. But I'm also with Les on this. I don't think he ever coaches again. And the fact that he's doing media work with Barstool Sports right now is probably the only opportunity he may ever get, because they're the renegades and the rogues. They're the spitting chicklets guys. That's where Pat McAfee started, right? But I think mainstream media, not in a real rush to hire this guy. And as somebody said to me, what if somebody went through your emails from 15 years ago? Go ahead. No, Les. Go ahead, because people have.
Yeah.
I look dumb, but I'm not that dumb.
Yeah.
We'll be right back with one more segment with Lester Lazaruk, my brother from another mother. Les Lazaruk, the voice of the Saskatoon Berries and the Saskatoon Blades. We'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network and live streaming.
Country's hottest party is coming. James Barker Band, Bud Light Buckle Up Tour 2025. Live across Canada with special guests Ryan and Rory. November 20th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca. James Barker Band Live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. If you can believe, already the final segment with Les Lazaruk, the voice of the Saskatoon Berries and Saskatoon Blades. Got a big ball game coming up, huge for them, deciding game tonight, game 3, the best of 3, home to the Red Sox, which I'll bring up with Les more in a second. He joins us from CJWW in Saskatoon. But I can smell a hot button topic like a fart in a car. I knew this John Gruden thing would bring up a lot of debate. And Ryan is watching in Saratoga, New York. He says, I voted yes. We won't see Gruden on a sideline, but I reckon he'll serve some team in an advisory role. And here's one. Kirk in Toronto writes in on the Western Dodge text line, and he says, hi, Rod, Gruden will look good in double blue. What do you think?
Why not? It's happened before. Guys from America that have had success down there come up into the CFL and find success here. Yeah, why not? Why not John Gruden in the CFL? Why not at the Toronto Argonauts? Although there is such a thing as a salary cap for team coaching personnel. I know it can be overlooked and paid away and done differently somewhere along the line, but there is such a thing as a salary cap, so can they really afford to bring John Gruden in? But why not? I would if I were them.
There's the meme. Why not John Gruden in the CFL? That'll from Les Lazaruk. That'll get everybody going this afternoon. You've just taken care of my afternoon, Les, for my entertainment right there, by the way, with that meme. Yeah, right. But, yeah, and you got to pee on the parade with the stupid coach's salary cap. You're right. Gruden doesn't need the money, so there's that. No, I don't. Yes. The cap is inane and insane and everything around that. Asinine. Mm-hmm. Right, so it's sad that you would have to even bring that up, but it's a thing.
Is.
But you know, the CFL. Listen, let's be honest. The CFL was always known as the. Jacques Chapdelaine said this when he was the coach of the Alouettes. It's the ultimate last chance league. This league was built on giving guys second chances. I don't know that that's a thing anymore. Do you?
No, it's not. Actually, it's more of a development for the NFL. Take a look at how many guys are coming here, playing, and then moving on to the National Football League and not necessarily starring, but they certainly are able to gain some employment and make some meaningful money compared to what you're going to make at the Canadian Football League level. So, but I mean, there's examples of it all over the place. You know, take a look at Doug Flutie, you had Warren Moon, and on and on and on they go. Joe is a more recent one. Who's trying to crack the NFL this year after playing only 1 year in the CFL, a Canadian receiver with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and yet here he is trying to make it in the NFL after only one season in the CFL. Yeah. I wish him all the best. I think it's great, and I think it's a great testimonial for the CFL if he does crack an NFL roster.
Well, he also played at South Florida and Clemson, and I saw him there. And even though we only had 20 catches in the CFL last year, I'll tell you what, you look at that guy and go, that's an NFL player.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason that he wasn't there coming out of college, football people know why. John in Winnipeg says, would Pinball hire Gruden? Well, if anybody would, it would be Pinner. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure Pinner's happy with his coach, Ryan Dinwiddie, the reigning Grey Cup champions, and they've won 2 championships under dinner. But what a fantastic topic. I guarantee you did not think you would be wandering down this road with me today. And like James Gallo yesterday, Les, you've acquitted yourself very, very well. But we do have a few moments here. I'll get to the other sports when you adjourn. I want to talk about you. And as I said earlier, this broadcasting baseball thing. Because I had to, I played it growing up like you, but I never called it ever until last year. I love it. And I kind of sit back and go, wait a minute. The Tom Cheeks, the Harry Careys, the Ernie Harwells, they were stealing money for years. Not hard. It's fun as hell.
Yeah.
But you got to. But there's an art to it.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's definitely an art to it. It's a different pace. It's a different cadence. It's a different feeling altogether because everything requires the pitch. And in between pitches, in the major leagues, there's only 20 seconds nowadays. But at this level, you can still get guys stomping around the mound and taking their sweet time before they get back up, and you can end up with long games. I mean, the game that you talked about that went over 4 hours back on Saturday night between the Berries and Miller Express that went 10 innings over 4 hours and 7 minutes to be exact. There were almost 400 pitches thrown total. That's 400 pitches in 4 hours plus. I mean, it was crazy the amount of time that there was to try and fill. And you have to make sure that you're prepared for that as best as you can be as a broadcaster. Like my wife actually is sitting beside me now. She's my producer of that broadcast that we're doing for Flow College. And she sits there and looks at me before the game. She wants me to talk to her. And I'm busy scrolling away, putting little notes in my scorebook, making sure that in case I end up with some sort of a delay or some sort of situation that requires me to be able to have something different to talk about rather than just flat out dead air. I mean, TV, you can get away with it, but that's my old radio roots coming through. I have to be able to continue to talk. And as a result, I need a lot of notes just to make sure I can fill the time in between pitches. So, yeah, it's a different cadence altogether. Hockey happens so fast, and sometimes you don't even come close to coming up with all the notes that you end up using and preparing yourself with. But for baseball, your preparation is absolutely critical to you to be able to do a good job.
Well, it took one game for me last year to go, I better get some stories. I better get to know these players better. So, Bomber Boy writes in and says, hey, Rod, do you have some crack statisticians providing obscure and interesting baseball stats at your disposal? I think that would be the toughest part about calling baseball games. I weave stats into it, but I get to know all the players at a personal level, plus their families. So I tell stories about the players. And I came up with Tim Horton's Miller Express trivia. I got Jenna doing my producing and switching like Verna does for you. So I'm like, Jenna, what's the question tonight? And then I have the viewers writing in on Twitter with their answers. And we have fun with it. And we make it very entertaining. So the stats are part of it, but the storytelling. And that's my point, is this should be fun for the love of God. I got out of it the last time 7 years ago. It wasn't fun. This is fun. Mm-hmm. And I sit there, Les, and go, is there not anybody else you can't find but besides us old farts like me and Les or Scruffy and Regina to call these games? Well, guess what? I sit there and go, we're the ones that are having all the fun. We got the last laugh. We're the winners in this.
You know it.
Yeah, so I'm so glad that they asked. Sandusky, Ohio writes in and says, John Gruden would have trouble with the Black American players. Jeremy in Winnipeg writes, and he says, Gruden will be back. The NFL blackballed him. I can't tell me he isn't the only one with shady emails. Goodell wanted him out and took the greasy way. Yeah, that's why he won't be back. That's why he won't be back, because so they find a dirty way to get rid of him. I don't see this ending with him being on the sidelines. But back to the black players, that's the only thing. A football guy said that to me. Make Gruden go in and face them.
Yes.
And he'll apologize. And that should be the end of it.
And that would be the end of it. That would be the end of it. That's all anybody ever wants, is for somebody to admit that they were wrong, that they did something stupid, did something that was callous, that was ridiculous. Go in and fall on the sword, admit to the fact that you did something wrong. I mean, I've done it in my lifetime. I've gotten second chances. You've done it, Rod. You've gotten your second chances. John Gruden should do the same thing. Buck up, man up, admit that you were wrong, go in and apologize, and you will get respect from those people and be given your second chance.
Yeah, well said, Lou. Well said. Well said. I mean, I had a lady last week misstepped big time over her boundaries with me, and I was in a position whether to forgive her or not, and I did because there was an NHL team over the past couple of years that I overstepped my boundaries with, and I apologized to them. I said, I was in the wrong. I'm so sorry. I wasn't used to dealing with this. And they got on with it. They're over it, right? Yep. So what does that tell you? Right. That tells you a lot about you, right? As much as it does about them. That's what we need to be as a society, because there are so many people that one misstep and you're done forever, and that's kind of scary. Okay, last thing. What else? You got 40 seconds, Les. What's the last word?
Last word, big ball game tonight, and shiver a little bit here right now, but WHL training camps start in 3 weeks' time.
Ooh, well, I'm kind of excited about that. I'll still be around and have a chance to pop by the rinks. Yeah. And the scouts are texting me here with the Warriors. Say, we'll be in town on these dates. You're going to be around?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be happy to see him. We'll get to everybody else's comments on these topics when we come back. Les, break a leg tonight. We'll be watching.
Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, Les Lazaruk.
Show.
Yeah, Les is going to ride shotgun with us tomorrow as well, in the absence of Moose, who's at the Jeux Canada Games. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the Rod Peterson Show. So happy to have you with us here today, live on Game Plus Television. It's a great week. I hope you're having a great week. I really do. I'm going to tell you the Western Dodge text line is open, 902-518-3033. Drive with confidence. Shop Western Dodge and Moose Jaw. Financing, selection, and service you can count on. And I got a sports update coming up here. It will not be a problem filling the next few segments with just me and you. And then I'll be honest, I wanted to start promoting today's guest. I'm talking about Jim Lawson next hour, the executive chairman from Woodbine Racetrack, Woodbine Entertainment in Toronto. He's just cooler than the other side of your pillow, man. Sharper than the edge of town. Jim Lawson. He was the chairman of the CFL for years. That's where I got to know him. And anytime we've asked him to come on, he comes on. The King's Plate running is this Saturday, formerly the Queen's Plate. And we had a great association with Woodbine and their betting app, Dark Horse, for years. And I just sent out a note to Jamie Dykstra there at Woodbine. I said, can we get Jim on? He's like, absolutely. He was also drafted by the Montreal Canadiens, played in their system for a long time. Jim Lawson coming up on hour 2. That's going to be great. And for those that were asking for Blue Jays guests, I've thrown my line in the water, waiting for a bite. One guy is Todd Stottlemyre, who's been on this show before. Blue Jays great, living in Phoenix. I'm waiting to hear back from his people, so we're working on it. Yeah, I'm the one. We as a team effort are lining up the guests. That's some of what we got coming down the pipe here. On the topic of John Gruden, the difference of should he come back, will he come back, is a very hotly debated topic. And so Jeremy wrote in. He goes, Gruden will be back. The NFL blackballed him. Can't tell me he isn't the only one with shady emails. And I said, he's not going to win. The leagues, which you could basically refer to as government, they're in charge. They win. Always. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Luke Wilson has stopped tweeting about the CFL. You're not going to be the first to win against the establishment. You're just not. Many will try. I tried. Uncle. But Gruden's going to take this to the end of the earth. He's not going to end up on a sideline. Jeremy goes on to say, well, Rich in Edmonton says, no one beats the NFL. Period. Nope. It's a long list. Ask Kaepernick. There's just one that comes. Who's ever beaten the NFL? John Gruden's going to beat the NFL? Not happening. Les Lazaruk was right earlier when he goes, he should just go away and stay in the media. But now it becomes about ego. Daniel Snyder, the Redskins owner, you think he wanted to leave? They gave him $5 billion to go away, and he was still pissed off. It's just the way some of those guys are, the way that they're wired. Ryan in upstate New York says it's all about the shield. It is. Well, it is. But in this case, again, there's a personal issue that I would rather not get into between Goodell and Gruden, which is another thing. You're not going to beat Goodell. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in and he says, Les Lazaruk is a great guy. He's an icon in Saskatchewan. Yes, he is. I call him my brother from another mother. We've been close for a long time. Jeremy, same guy from Winnipeg, said, how about that Tom Brady statue? How about it? What part of it? The fact that his head is the size of a pea? It reminds me of those action figures when we were kids, the Megatron ones with a little head. Is that what you're talking about? Come on, tell me not everybody. Tell me somebody else saw that the Tom Brady statue that was unveiled at Saturday's preseason game missed the mark. I mean, it's 2025. You can't get the statue right. It was a big joke in South Florida in the springtime, in the wintertime, when they unveiled the statue of Dwayne Wade in front of American Airlines Arena. It didn't look anything like him. Statues from 30 years ago look more like these guys. And as Jeremy says, as Brady said, it's not only for Patriots fans, but for Jets fans to throw beers at when they leave in the second quarter. What a beauty. Oh, I can't wait to meet Tom Brady. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Now that we're rolling in NFL circles, and we both live in South Florida. Colt writes in from San Diego and says he should just stay with Barstool Sports and keep on doing Gruden and the quarterback. I'll read your opinion, but as I said earlier with Les, the guys don't want to do that. You don't understand. I'm broadcasting because I want to be a broadcaster. That's all I've ever wanted to do. The coaches coach because that's all they ever wanted to do. They don't want to be broadcasters. Very few of them. I won't go any. Let's use Dunnigan because he's not on TV anymore. He always said this is not even an adequate substitution for coaching, being on TSN. None of them like it. Don Cherry would have rather been on a bench. They're all the same, and I respect the hell out of that. 902-518-3033 is the text line. Oh, Darcy in Grand Prairie says, my kingdom for Buck Martinez on the RP show. We've had him on. We have had him on. Usually it has been my experience that Buck Martinez doesn't do in-season interviews. The times we've had him on were off-season, but we'll work on it. Timing-wise, it should work. I mean, we had Jamie Campbell on here recently. Well, I'll work on it. Rob in the Queen City writes that he says, unfortunately, Chucky is not beating Goodell. No. And it's going to be an ugly fall when he has to give up. Sports update for Cool Bet Canada. The Associated Press Top 25 College Football Poll preseason rankings are here. Texas took the number one spot for the first time ever in franchise program history, narrowly edging out Penn State by just 5 points in the closest preseason vote since 1998. Defending champion OSU ranked third. I'll give you the top 10. This is a very big deal in America and for college football fans in Canada. Number 1, Texas. Number 2, Penn State. Number 3, Ohio State. Number 4, Clemson. Number 5, Georgia. Number 6, Notre Dame. Number 7, Oregon. Number 8, my Alabama Crimson Tide. Number 9, LSU. And number 10, the Miami Hurricanes. I'll be heading back to Florida here in a couple of weeks. And the best team in Florida, South Florida anyways, will be the Miami Hurricanes, not the Dolphins. Which reminds me, Laverne and Swift Current, you wrote in a question that I will get to probably next hour. Depends how much time we have left in this hour. But as I continue on in the sports update, the New York Yankees got home runs from Cody Bellinger, Giancarlo Stanton, Ben Rice, and Jazz Chisholm Jr. en route to a 6-2 win over the Minnesota Twins Monday night. Kyle Schwarber's 2-run home run with 2 out in the 8th lifted the NL East leading Philadelphia Phillies to a 4-1 victory over the host Reds. Schwarber's 42nd homer of the season broke open a tight game and gave the visitors their 4th win in a row. Blue Jays opening a 3-game home set against the Cubs tonight. 7:10 first pitch at Rogers Center Eastern. Seattle Kraken defenseman Riker Evans agreed yesterday to a 2-year contract extension that carries a $2.05 million average annual value and runs through the 26-27 NHL season. The 23-year-old Evans recorded 5 goals and 20 assists in 73 games during his first full season with the Kraken, who selected the Calgary-born blue liner in the second round of the 2021 entry draft. And a former Regina Pat from God's team, Riker Evans. Oh, did I love watching that kid play. When we were doing the all-quarter century team, for the Regina viewers, for the hockey viewers of Regina, my defensemen of the top 25 quarter century, 2000 to 2025, were Kyle Deck and Connor Hobbs. But I really hovered around Riker Evans. Top 3 defensemen in the quarter century for the Regina Pats? Anybody want to argue that? The sports update is for CoolBet Canada. Get a welcome bonus up to $200 with a promo code RP200 at coolbet.com. Daryl, where is it? Laverne and Swift Current writes in. He's keeping a tally here. NFL surprise team picks. Arash picks New England and the Jets. Kenny Nagunst from 806 Sports Texas says Carolina. Jim Barker says the LA Chargers. Jersey Jim says the Raiders. Moose says the Raiders. Laverne and Shirley, not the TV show, but Laverne and Swift Current. I'm glad you've jumped on that, Laverne. Says the Bears. Tori Gurley says the LA Chargers. Mo Egger says the New England Patriots. And you missed John Ryan. I'm going to agree with my buddy JR, the Super Bowl winning punter of the Seattle Seahawks, and say the Vegas Raiders. We're becoming big Raiders fans here, aren't we, producer Corey? Big Vegas Raiders fans here on the RP show. So put me down as that. Dallas Cowboys. My two teams that I follow are the Cowboys and the Dolphins, and I expect they're both going to miss the playoffs. If one of them missed the playoffs, if one of them made the playoffs, that would be a surprise. I don't think either one's going to make. The Dolphins for sure not. Picked by USA Today for 5 wins and missed the playoffs. Talked to Chris from the Bronx this morning. We're planning a trip to New York. Maybe you can show me around your hometown in the Bronx, Chris. So let's go up to a Giants game. You and I deserve something good. Although Vegas would be nice too, and the weather would be better. Jim Lawson next hour from Woodbine Racetrack. Talking all things sports. We'll be back in hour 2 right after this.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. The spirit of Italian. Come in. Enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in. Enjoy.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Hi, everybody. Are you seated comfortably? Let's begin. Hour 2 of the RP Show. Rolling on episode number 1553. Very exciting week on tap. You gotta love when you get treated well and nice people. Just so you know, Thursday is Theron Fleury's Golf Classic, the Breaking Free Foundation in Calgary, and we're going to be there live broadcasting from Golf Fanatics. I've never been there before. I'm excited. Dana has written us from Golf Fanatics. She says, "Hi, Rod. We're so excited to have you here on Thursday. Yes, we have all of your requirements. Let us know if there's anything else you need." So, yes, producer Corey, we will be, which, as you know, live in Calgary Thursday at Theron Fleury's Golf Classic. It's not called that. It's for the Breaking Free Foundation. It's a foundation that provides free counseling for trauma and abuse survivors. Just so you all know. And the waiting list is at least 2 years long. Imagine somebody actually building the courage up to ask for help with what they've been dealing with that isn't even their fault, abuse and trauma, and saying, yes, we can accommodate you. It'll be 2 years. The more money we raise, the quicker that wait list goes down. Everybody going there is everybody on that board's volunteers. Theron Fleury, Colin Patterson, 2 former Flames. And what did we do last week? We're at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Hey, Theo, can you come join me at OT Hockey? Yeah, where is it? When do you need me? And doing that for Theo's event here on Thursday. So that's going to be fun. Helping each other out. That is what it's all about. So, yeah. Jim Lawson coming up in the next segment from Woodbine Entertainment in Toronto, executive chairman there. The Kings Plate coming up on Saturday, and the former chairman of the CFL Board of Governors. So that will be great. Former Montreal Canadiens prospect. Jim Lawson can do it all. Ontario sports royalty is what he is. So let's re-up the Quick Six show topics. Les Lazaruk joined us 1 hour ago to help me break these down. Les from CJWW Radio and the voice of the Berries and the Blades. We talked about this. The Toronto Blue Jays open a 3-game series tonight against the visiting Chicago Cubs. Jose Barrios will be on the mound for the American League East leading Jays, who are 4.5 up on Boston in the AL East. Righty Ben Brown will be on the hill for the Cubs, who are second in the NL Central. So, Jays coming out of the Dodgers series where they lost 2 of 3. And now they get a playoff team, one of the best teams in the majors. The Chicago Cubs have the best record of wild card teams. Just a good measuring stick. Should be some great ball. And as much as I'm upset that our Western Canadian Baseball League season is over, as I broadcast for the Moose Jaw Miller Express, gives me a whole lot more time to watch Blue Jays baseball. And that is on the docket tonight. We could sit and kick this around forever, and I'll guarantee you that Jim Lawson will be able to talk about that because, again, he's a sportsman. The Blue Jays and what they're doing. I get it, Toronto. We're all excited about the Blue Jays. Point 2 was the Western Canadian Baseball League, because I'm not joking. I don't know about everybody else, but in my circles, the prairies here are buzzing with this baseball talk out here in Western Canada. It's NCAA baseball. Sylvan Lake completed a sweep of the Okotoks Dogs last night. They're on the way to the league final for the first time in their franchise history. And tonight, their opponent will be decided at the Berry Patch in Saskatoon. It'll be sold out. Les will be broadcasting at the Saskatoon Berries, home to the Regina Red Sox Game 3, the best of 3. Point 3 of the Quick Six show topics had to do with the NFL. And can I say again, I'm so happy the NFL is back. It reminds me of that conversation in January with the NFL when they're like, hey, Rod, If you talk more NFL, it'd be good for you. Probably. But when they're not playing, I'm not going to talk about it. There are other things to discuss. Well, now they're playing. And this is what's in the news. A Nevada court has cleared the way for a 2021 lawsuit filed by former Las Vegas Raiders coach John Gruden to proceed against NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell and the league. Gruden's lawsuit alleges that a malicious and orchestrated campaign was used to destroy his career by leaking old emails he had sent that included racist, misogynistic, and homophobic comments. Have you followed the paper trail on this, or as the lawyers say, the chain? Are y'all familiar with what's gone on here? Before I go any further, that is the poll question today for EMJ Marketing. Elevate your brand and engage your audience with EMJ Marketing. Check out emjmarketing.com. They were investigating inter-office improprieties with the Washington Redskins when emails coming from Raiders, Gruden's account, to the Redskins, somebody with the Redskins, they're looking at this going, wait a minute, this ain't right. In the Redskins investigation, that's how Gruden got outed in all of this. And they were racist, misogynistic, and homophobic comments. This goes back a number of years now. Well, when the emails came out, not when Gruden was forced to step down as coach back in 2021. But I remember that happening. Clearly, we all do. And I remember people saying to me, well, Rod, what if they dug out your emails from 15 years ago? Go ahead. I will guarantee you there was no racist, misogynistic, or homophobic comments made. There weren't. So that is not pointing a finger at John Gruden because, by the way, I've voted yes, he should be reinstated by the NFL. That's the poll question today. And between 80 and 90% of you that are voting on Twitter, YouTube, or Instagram are saying, yeah, he should be reinstated. But that's not a shock to me that our viewers would say that he should. But I remember at the time, I can't remember who I was talking to. Somebody in the NFL, they said, forget about what Goodell says, what should happen. Forget about what the fans say. Gruden should go in and talk to his locker room and look the black players in the eye and make an apology. And let's just see how that goes. If they're willing to accept him back, if it's not the Raiders then any other team, then yeah, bring him back. If they're not, don't bring him back. So again, further to this, so the lawsuit's going to go ahead. It's been cleared by a Nevada judge. Great. Doesn't mean he's coming back. That's the point here. It's a personal issue between Roger Goodell, the commissioner, and John Gruden. And I also know what that issue is, and I don't want to say it here. But all I'm saying is John should probably give up because he's not going to win. But guys like that don't give up. So he's going to spend a lot of money, I think, unnecessarily because he's not going to win. What do we have here? Oh, regarding those college football rankings, Eric Cora says Bama at number 8 seems unusually high. The schedule is tough, but this is all about reputation and mystique. They are unusually high. That is, let's remember something here. Miami's number 10. They didn't even make the 12-team playoff last year. Alabama's number 8. They didn't make the 12-team playoff last year either. Jalen Milroe's gone, the quarterback for the Crimson Tide. And DeBoer, the replacement for Nick Saban, hadn't done squat. They continue to ride on reputation, Alabama. And it's fun to be able to have this conversation. I mean, that's the thing. It is, in the U.S. South, bigger than the NFL. And that's where I lived for 9 months. It's taken me a while to get up to speed on this kind of talk. It ain't hard. They're not rocket scientists down there. They're no smarter than any of us. I just hadn't spent a lot of time watching it. Now I do and can hold my own in that conversation. What are we talking about here? Rich Robertson says, quit giving me false hope, people. What are we talking about, Rich? You guys lost me. 902-518-3033. I got stalled on the Gruden thing, point 3. Point 4 is the Canadian Football League, week 11. And it's unfair to the other games because Canada's game of the week, it's not even a contest. Your schedule is this. Thursday night, the Ottawa Red Blacks are at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That'll be a dub for the dub. Friday, the Toronto Argonauts at the Edmonton Elk-a-Mouse in a Grey Cup rematch of 1996. Argos at Edmonton. Friday. Ooh. Toilet Bowl sponsored by Mr. Plummer. Elk-a-Mouse 2-6, Argos 2-7. And a Saturday doubleheader with some pretty tantalizing games here. The Hamilton Tiger Cats 6-3 at the 7-1 Saskatchewan Roughriders. That's the game of the week. The West Division Riders home, West Division leading Riders home to the East Division leading Hamilton Tiger Cats. Grey Cup preview. An hour ago, Les Lazaruk said, no. That's not a Grey Cup preview. He just said it's too early to say, but if you're going to hype the league, that would be a good way to go about it. Bo Levi Mitchell versus Trevor Harris. 1 p.m. kickoff in the football capital. And later that night, it's the Montreal Alouettes at the BC Lions. BC always loves that Saturday 4 p.m. kickoff. It's worked for them. It's new. Amar Dolman, the owner, brought that in since he bought the team, and the crowds responded. Works pretty good in Saskatchewan, too, those Saturday games. Anyways, Montreal 5-4 at the 4-5 BC Lions. Nathan Rourke and crew back home after that stunning victory at Hamilton. I tell you what did I say? The media guys are good to have on the air, and they're always on time and very reliable. The ex-athletes, not as much reliability, but their analysis is fantastic. And when you can get an ex-athlete that's become a broadcaster, you have Julio Caravata. The longtime Lions radio man was on the air last week, and that was just a great chat. And, that was the day of the game, Lions at Tiger Cats. And we agreed. The Lions have the talent. It's a different conversation when you don't have the talent or when you're really, really young and you're trying to build a rebuild. Like, is it a rebuild in BC? They made the playoffs last year, but they didn't make the Grey Cup, and they were hosting it. So you know what that means with some owners? You got to go. That's what happened to Rick Campbell. And Neil McAvoy was reshuffled within the organization. Basically had an opening for a GM and head coach. All of a sudden, Ryan Rigmaden's in there and Buck Pierce, and it wasn't a complete teardown. The one guy wrote in here last week, and he asked Jim Barker, how long should a rebuild take? It depends how big of a disaster you're taking over. BC was not a disaster. And the fact that I don't know that Amar Dolman said, make the Grey Cup or you're fired, but it sure looks that way. That happened in Saskatchewan here in 2013. It's 11:11 Mountain, 1:11 Eastern. We observe that for the numerology, folks. Jim Hobson didn't mind saying it. The Hall of Fame president of the Rough Riders went into the office of the general manager, Brendan Tam, and the head coach, Corey Chamberlain, and said, win the Grey Cup or you're gone. Good talk. And they did, and everybody was happy. Didn't happen in BC. Doesn't mean they're a terrible team. So all of a sudden, Mark Killam takes over the Edmonton Elk-a-Mouse and Ed Hervey. They have been a grease fire for years. They're still trying to turn that thing around. What I say, they're 2-6. So how long is it going to take? Depends on how big of a disaster you inherited. Thanks for coming to our TED Talk. BW in Edmonton writes in and he says, Rod Gruden can coach as an advisor from the skybox. It's not the same. Taylor in Calgary writes in and he says, hey, Rod, if one league had to go, which one are you keeping? The CFL or the NFL? Odd question. I mean, the NFL isn't going anywhere, and for 100 years, we've been waiting for the CFL to fold based on what we hear and see. I think NFL Canada would be a good thing. That's probably where we're going, but may the CFL gods not strike me down like they have apparently done to Luke Wilson. You got to be careful now. Jeremy, really good point by Jeremy in Winnipeg. He says Gruden could be like Belichick and coach in college. Well, tell him that. That's a great point. Are you following this? Like the football people are saying, look at Belichick. He's actually having fun. I don't think it has anything to do with his 24-year-old girlfriend. He's actually coaching in college. He's actually recruiting in college. It's not as much, I don't think, answering to the owner. I'm sure it comes with a lot of headaches that I'm not aware of, college football, but it doesn't come with the same headaches that you deal with in the NFL. And I'm not sure that Robert Kraft was a headache for the Patriots. 6 Super Bowls they won. But relationships do sour, and I think that's pretty clear what happened in New England with Kraft, Brady, and Belichick. Have you noticed? Tom's back already. Tom's the good guy. There's a statue with Tom. We talked about that earlier. I don't think there's a statue of Belichick coming. I just don't. It really appears Kraft and Belichick hate each other. And as long as Robert Kraft owns that team, and if you notice, these owners, even when they die, it usually stays in the family. I don't think there's going to be a statue for Bill Belichick in New England. That'll piss him off. Who was asking here earlier about going to the Arena League? I think, well, and the gentleman wrote in earlier about Gruden coming to the CFL. I think it's NFL or nothing for John Gruden. The thing is, yeah, he's great at the media. We all loved him on TV, Monday Night Football. It's not the same. Jim Lawson joins us next. A variety of things to discuss with the executive chairman from Woodbine and the former CFL chairman of the Board of Governors. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television and streaming live.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Live here on the Game Plus television network, coast to coast across Canada, Game Plus TV, and in 32 U.S. states. The Western Dodge text line is bursting with comments from the viewers. But first, we got to go to our man, Jim Lawson from Woodbine, Executive Chairman. Jim, you're such a great sportsman. Ontario sporting royalty, as far as I'm concerned. We got a lot of things to talk about, so thanks for the time. Happy belated birthday. And I think you guys just came through a pretty exciting thing with the King's Plate over lunch. Am I right? You had the draw?
Yeah, we just had the post position draw for Saturday at the King's Plate, and 13 horses, and we're locked and ready to go for Saturday.
Oh, it must be nice. You got through COVID and all the horrible headaches you had with that. Do you feel like you're back to normal, rocking with the King's Plate?
Yeah, absolutely. Sold out crowd, big day. It's been building over the years as a big social event, and that was the goal, to introduce a lot of young people to the sport of horse racing, and it we'll see evidence of that on Saturday for sure. It'll be a big crowd and mostly a very young crowd.
Well, I see that at horse racing events in Calgary. Really young. They don't go for the race, I don't think, Jim. I feel like they're going for the party. Is that the goal? Is that the thing?
Yeah, they go for the party. There's no question about that. But they learn a bit about racing, and they like the atmosphere. And a lot of people come back. Well, as I say, we've got a big piece of property here, 8,000 seats, and we're completely sold out, plus our dining rooms. And there'll be a huge crowd outside. So it'll be a big day and a fun party.
Well, I'll tell you what. So there's a lot of things to get to here. And Woodbine has made the jockeys available for interviews and stuff, so that your communications department said, "Oh, why do you want to talk to Jim?" I'm like, "Because I like him. I like talking sports with Jim." We only do it like once a year. So before we get into the horse racing, you're a Toronto sports guy, like the Blue Jays right now, number one from what I understand, by far.
Well, not by far. They're up 4 games on the Red Sox. The Red Sox have slipped a little. They lost 4 out of their last 5. The Yankees are lurking around. They've got a couple tough series. I'm going tonight to the Chicago Cubs game in Toronto. Cubbies will be tough. Texas has got great pitching, and their hitting's coming on, and they have Texas up next at home this week, end of this week. So everyone's hopeful. Hopefully they did enough at the trade deadline. The Blue Jays, they brought in a couple new really good arms, and Shane Bieber is about to come back from rehab, and he's a absolute superstar if he comes around where he's capable. So there's reason to be excited in Toronto, but no question the American League's tough, and the National League is even tougher. So let's just worry about the American League for now.
Well, I knew you'd be on top of it. And that's the thing, is what I hear is that the city's on fire with Blue Jays talk. And I'm kind of having fun asking my guests, does this remind you of anything? And people are saying, yeah, it reminds me of opening day in 77. It reminds me of 92, 93 World Series, or it reminds me of the pennants back-to-back 2015, 2016. What memories are being evoked for you right now with this pretty fun run here?
Yeah, I was at all of them, of course, but I was there in 92 and 93 at all the games. I think this feels a little bit more like 2016, 17 when they built those teams, when they brought in Tulo and David Price at the trade deadline. It feels a little bit like that. Like there's a potential that 92, 93 team, those two teams were just exceptionally strong. Doesn't feel like that's what we've got here, and I'm not trying to be the expert, but it feels like this team, if everything goes right and these arms fall into place, Scherzer's pitched really well for them. And as they said, Bieber comes back. They've got a good starting group. They've got to get their bullpen to fall in line properly. They had a bit of a faux pas the other night, but they managed to win in LA the last game. But it feels a little bit like, as I said, the 16-17, not as much 92-93, but I can tell you this, Rod, the city is definitely a buzz. So what you're hearing is right. It will be sold out tonight in every game in this homestand.
Listen, we'll get around to the horse racing, everybody. But Jim, we got him for about 15, 20 minutes. There's a lot to get to here. Just with the 92-93 team, Dave Winfield was brought in. Joe Carter was brought. We all knew who these guys were, and Robbie Alomar was already there. There's a lot of guys with the Jays. Jim, I watched the game. But who is this Mason Fluharty? Who is this Lofer Dino? I feel like they kind of came out of nowhere, some of these guys.
Well, young guys, a young guy like Loper Fido, they got at the trade deadline last year. They've got some young talent. Guys have stepped up. I mean, Clement is hitting, he was hitting close to 300 most of the year. Barger, they call him on the broadcast, Bam Bam Barger. I mean, he wasn't even with the team in the beginning of the year. He's got about 18 home runs this year. Springer has played exceptionally well. They're waiting for him to come back from concussion protocol, but they've had a lot of young guys step up, and the pitching staff, they do have some veteran starters, but they've got some depth there. So in my view, they're missing that big bat. They were hoping that it would be Santander. It wasn't him while he was playing, and now he's been out and may not be back this year. But there's certainly room for optimism, especially in the American League. I think they're as good as anyone.
Well, last one on that. Do you feel like maybe if Vladdy picks it up, but let's be honest, he has been pretty quiet since signing the big deal, which I know doesn't kick in until next year. And even Bo Bichette probably could do a little more. Like if those guys were 10 out of 10, that might be enough to take him. Yeah,
listen, I think Bichette has been 9 out of 10. He's been really good, really clutch. I think he's leading the major leagues in hits. So Bichette, check the box on him. As you raised Bichette's name, my only concern is whether he'll think of coming back here next year. He's contracted. He's a free agent at the end of the year. Vladdy has been better than he's been given credit for in a couple of ways. One, I think he's a very good fielder, which he doesn't get credit for. And secondly, since the All-Star break, he's been hitting for average, and he's had a little more pop in his bat. So let's hope he picks it up a little more, as you say, Rod. But there's room for optimism. Springer's got to come back and continue. Varsho's come back into the lineup, and he's got a lot of pop, and he's a good fielder. They've got some interesting decisions this week because they've got their second baseman Jimenez coming back off the injury reserve, and then they've got Springer coming back. So they've got a position player decision as to who they set down on the roster probably by the end of the week if they can get Springer back.
There you go, everybody. I don't think Jim planned to come on here and talk as much baseball, but I knew you could. And we'll get to the CFL in a second. Jim is the former CFL chairman of the Board of Governors. But to the Kings plate, explain this a little more with the draw today. Your horses, what's the field like, and what the atmosphere is going to be like on Saturday?
Well, I'll start with the atmosphere, then go to the race. The atmosphere will be party central. Food trucks, there'll be people dressed to the nines. There'll be a fashion show. There'll be live music. It will be just one big party. And it's, as I said, over the years, that was our goal, to grow it in stature with a younger crowd. And certainly we've achieved that. And there's a buzz about the Kings Plate. And as a social event, it's a sporting event, but it's becoming the social event on this calendar for the summer. It'll be fun, and it'll be electric. We had a terrible situation with rain last year, and it got rained out. But this year it's going to be warm, maybe hot, but hopefully the rain will hold off till at least Sunday. It's not going to pour the way it did last year. As far as the horse race, Rod, it's wide open. There are 13 horses in the race. The favorite in the race is a filly. Again, fillies seem to come out of the Canadian Oaks, which is the big 3-year-old filly race in Canada called the Canadian Oaks. And it's run the same day as the plate trial, which is the prep race for the Colts. And the two winners, are coming out of that. But Mark Casse, I like his filly named No Time, owned by a guy named Gary Barber, who owns hundreds of horses. Mark himself has been the leading trainer at Woodbine for more than a decade, and she'll be tough. She drew post position 10, which shouldn't hurt her, going 1.25 miles, and it'll be an exciting race. And she's got the services of Hall of Fame jockey Johnny Velasquez, so it shapes up to be a big race day. There's lots of other good races and lots of big wagering opportunities, so it'll be fun.
I was going to say, do you have any idea how much will be wagered on it? You guys track that sort of thing, don't you?
Yeah, very carefully. Those that's like that's like saying, does Walmart track its sales? Yes, we do.
Yes. Do you make it public? Do you make it public?
Yeah, absolutely, we do. We're hoping somewhere in the $15 to $20 million range will be wagered on the day, and I'm hopefully safe in saying it'll be 18 million plus, but we'll know more on Saturday.
166th running of the King's Plate. Where along the way did you get involved, and why?
Well, my father was involved in thoroughbred racing, and he was in the lumber business in Hamilton. He was the youngest winning quarterback ever to win the Grey Cup in 43 with the Wildcats. And but my father's sideline, and he was always very heavily involved in the Tiger Cats, and my uncle, who played in the first Tiger Cat team in 1950. My father got involved in racing. He just liked the sport of it. And I started coming to Woodbine when I was about 8 years old, which, given my birthday, would mean about 1965. And I didn't get involved in Woodbine until I joined the board in 2008. And then I started thereafter to dabble in owning and breeding racehorses. But I became chair of the Woodbine board in 2012 and took over as CEO in 2015. And then I stepped down in 2023 as CEO and appointed Michael Copeland, who was the former president of the Canadian Football League for 8 years, that I worked closely with. Michael worked mostly with Mark Cohan when Mark Cohan was a commissioner, and Tom Wright before that. And so Michael's doing a great job. He's been in the CEO seat for almost 2 years now, and I've continued on as executive chair. And I'm very involved in the real estate here. We have 700 acres of land, Rod, and we just announced a major train station hub here with a GO train and a Union Pearson stop and a light rail transit stop, and that's all coming in the next 5 years. And it will just be the key to and the catalyst to unleashing the value in these lands, all of which is to benefit ultimately horse racing. So it's pretty fun to be involved.
Well, that's the thing. I've been following you for a long time, known you for a long time, and I feel like you get involved with these things without the plan of running them all, but that's what ends up happening, right? That's just the way that it goes. You're just that kind of guy. And the thing is, the reason I tiptoed around the betting is you have to tiptoe around the betting. Like, you must find it really interesting in sports how that's just gone. It's always been big in horse racing, but it hasn't always been big in sports.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I mean, it's not going away, betting, and it's certainly, I've seen the evolution. I worked very hard with the federal government to make sure these mega sports betting companies couldn't bet on horse racing, because that, quite frankly, would have put us out of business. Now, the flip side of that is we're now starting to take our pari-mutuel product, which horse racing is pari-mutuel wagering in this country, and we're tacking it on. We've been a partner with Bet365. Today at the draw, we announced that we're putting our tote system on OLG, the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation, which has a big footprint. So now you'll be able to go on the OLG website and bet on horse racing. So it's an interesting one. And the Canadian Football League, worked for years as that evolved, and whether we'd allow betting kiosks in stadiums and all those issues associated with wagering. It's, as I said earlier, when you asked me about the number, for our business in horse racing, betting is our sales. So we have to be focused on it. We have to increase wagering. And it's an interesting thing. I mean, I heard your listeners comment about the CFL or the NFL. Well, the NFL has done a masterful job with their wagering. I mean, how many people tune in on Sundays? It's a 12 to 14 billion dollars of revenue now at the NFL. It's a behemoth. It's not going away ever. And they've done a masterful job of putting their sport in conjunction with wagering to the benefit of the NFL. I mean, it's a behemoth, and good for them. And they've been very clever about it. And they've also managed to attract a strong woman demographic. I'm not suggesting that has much to do with wagering, but they've done a masterful job of attracting women as fans of the National Football League.
I tell you what, if you wrote a book, I'd read it. Why do youth cats are you not? Like, maybe you can't say too much, but yeah, where's that league going?
Yes, I am still a part owner of the Tiger Cats, and am very involved. I would say that, listen, it's a big challenge. There's no secret. I mean, there's still a question mark on MLSE, 100% ownership of the Toronto Argonauts, and what that means for the league and what that means for the franchise. I don't know. It's the obvious question that's lurking out there as I'll say, a gray cloud. I don't know what Edward Rogers' plans are with the Toronto Argonauts. Certainly, I've been heavily involved since 2011 with the Canadian Football League. But as you heard me say earlier, I've been involved my entire life through my father and uncle. And before that, my grandfather owned the Hamilton Wildcats and owned the Hamilton Tiger Cats when he first merged the Hamilton Tigers and the Hamilton Wildcats to become the Tiger Cats. So it's been growing up, it's been my whole life. And I would say that more than anything, there's perseverance. It's part of our Canadian culture. I'm very proud to have been part of it, and I think that when you go to Mosaic and you see that game on Saturday, be a big crowd. That's Canadiana. That's the heart of Canada, and I just think that for that reason, this league will persevere. The interesting question is the relationship with the National Football League. I worked very hard with a committee, working with Todd Lewicki in and around 2015 to see how we could promote I won't call it a merger, but a partnership with the NFL, and that fell off the rails. It didn't fall off the rails for any good reason, but because we were down to negotiating 3 down versus 4 down and the 1 yard halo and stepping out. And so I think there's still something to be done with the NFL. Whether that's the savior or not, I don't know. But the Canadian Football League is a great league with great talent. And again, I think underestimated the degree of talent in the CFL. And, sitting in Toronto, I just sometimes, wish people could go out to Mosaic or go out to Winnipeg and go out and see just the fervor that there is for this game. And they'll quickly learn the Canadian Football League's not going anywhere quickly. I'm a big fan and friend of Stu Johnson. I think he'll do a great job. He's got the television broadcasting rights coming up for renewal, and I think that's an opportunity as opposed to a risk. And so that gives me more confidence because Stu is a very capable guy and the right guy for the job. So I'm very optimistic.
I don't know him hardly at all other than he's been on this show, but I hear it's going in the right direction, and we're flat out of time. Well, good luck getting that ring with the Ticats, Jim. Thanks for the time, and we'll be watching on Saturday.
Yeah, well, I'll be watching both on Saturday.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate you. Jim Lawson, such a great guy, executive chairman at Woodbine Entertainment. The 166th Kings Plate will be run on Saturday at Woodbine. We'll be coming right back with a sports update after this on Game Plus TV.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the RP Show. Phone's blowing up with the interview with Jim Lawson. That's my kind of guy. I always like Jim's kind of his jib, you know. And people are blowing up. Not that it matters now. It was 10 years ago the CFL approached the NFL about some sort of partnership. And would you be surprised to know that the NFL said, we work alone? I feel that's how it went. I don't totally know. But here we are. 902-518-3033 is the text line for Western Dodge. Oh, boy, I told you that I had a full phone, and I just haven't looked at it since. Kirk in Toronto writes in. He says, hey, Rod, any Blue Jay guest would be great, except for that pant-load Wilner. Well, if we can stay away from political talk with Mike Wilner, I think we'll be fine. That's on him, though, not me. Just blowing it because I can. Ron in Calgary writes in from the 403. Morning, Ron. I'm a little sad today. No four-peat for my Okotoks dogs. Good luck, Sylvan Lake goals. Oh, poor you. Your team can't win 4 straight championships. My God, Ron, what are you going to do? I suggest counseling. Okotoks out. And Sylvan Lake is on their way to the Western Canadian base. I know that you're saying that tongue-in-cheek and you're a big fan of the show. I'm a big fan of yours, Ron. Teasing a bit. Tonight, Game 3, best of 3, the Saskatoon Berries, home to the Regina Red Sox at the Berry Patch in Saskatoon. Exciting times. Sylvan Lake's opponent in the league final will be decided tonight. Kelly writes in, watching in the YQR. Says, good day to talk and listen to sports. Always good to follow along. Keep it up, okay? That's from Kelly in Regina. Says it's time for a Jeff Fairholm session on his CFL views. Jeff's been invited multiple times. He is my favorite all-time Rough Rider. Let's put it this way. Mid-morning is not a good time for him. He works. And I don't think he's real happy that I admonished him for trolling Cody Fajardo on the weekend. Just don't. Brooke writes in from Airdrie, Alberta. Says, hey, Rod and the crew. Great show so far today. Well, we'll try not to screw up the next 16 minutes. He says, I'm super excited. I just bought 5 tickets for my kids and I to go to the August 23rd Rider game in Calgary. They had Victory Monday promo code for 28% off all tickets. Go, Riders, go. Brooke from Airdrie, Alberta. Darcy in Grand Prairie, Alberta. We're very big in Alberta, clearly. Darcy says, my prediction, John Gruden doesn't coach in the NFL again, but wins the lawsuit. I'm going to tell you, he's not the first guy to get blackballed. I don't really know what he's trying to accomplish here, but it's sure given us a lot to talk about. Colin in Ottawa writes, and he says, why did the CFL Board of Governors approve the change of the logo, the old Maple Leaf logo with the football, and it was so good? I blame Jeffrey Orridge for that. Oh, Tony from Cochrane, Alberta writes in, and he says, Rod probably has old CFL logo swag. Guy, I had a nylon black jacket from 1999, my first season with the Riders. It was before retro was cool. Had that old helmet CFL logo on the back. I gave it to a guy. I gave it to him. I was working with him. He ended up quitting / got fired. I asked for the jacket back. He said he couldn't find it. I'm like, I should have never given that. It was that 90s starters gear, remember? Aye. Ken in Mississauga writes that he says there are many big race days at Woodbine outside the King's Plate. Free parking, free admission, free handicap journal, and you get involved with a $2 bet. How about that? Did I even start going down the road of the sports update? Because I feel like I don't have time now. I have 1 minute left. Browns All-Pro defensive end Myles Garrett has been accused of driving a Ferrari 100 mile an hour on a suburban Cleveland interstate. The Strongsville Police Department stopped Garrett just after 2 a.m. Saturday in a 60 mile an hour zone on Interstate 71 near the Ohio Turnpike, according to a citation. Paramount and UFC have announced a $1 billion rights deal, marking a significant shift for the fight company. UFC CEO Dana White is set to meet with Donald Trump to discuss a proposed 4th of July fight card at the White House. The 7-year deal with Paramount starting in 2026 is worth $1.1 billion annually. Seat Giant brings you the sports update. Use promo code RPShow for 15% off now. We'll be back with overtime right after this here on Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. We are back for Overtime, brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. You know, I've got such strong ties with Calgary. I love it there so much. And we'll be back there on Thursday for the Theron Fleury Breaking Free Foundation Golf Classic. We're broadcasting live from Golf Fanatics, and I'll be emceeing the golf event. It's going to be so great. Maybe one day I'll be permanently in Calgary. I don't know. But for now, this works out great. On the topics of what we've been talking about, Navy Dawn writes in from Ottawa and says, Torontonians are sadly mistaken if they think the NFL will come calling with the demise of the CFL. Why did your mind go there, Dawn? Jim Lawson just said the CFL's not going anywhere anytime soon, and he is a part owner of the Ticats. Why would you? That chip's still on your shoulder, Don, just so you know. Next time we're together, I'll take it off for you. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta, with regards to his thing, he says Rod probably has old CFL logo swag. I know I read that once already, but I was quite upset with Jeffrey Orridge for changing the logo. I was there that day at the CFL State of the Union address, Commissioner State of the Union address, Friday of the 2015 Grey Cup. And for a lot of reasons, I didn't like them changing the logo. I liked the logo we had. I really liked the logo we had until 2000, the one with the helmet. I was very outspoken in my, well, to say dislike of Commissioner Jeffrey P. Orridge might be a little strong, because I didn't know him personally. I didn't like the things he was doing. And he had me fired from writing for CFL.ca. I was the first writer ever on the website. We didn't really get along. I feel like we kind of patched things up at Mark's CFL week one night at the keg. We ran into each other. But I was at a 12-step meeting in Boca Raton, Florida. However it came up, I don't know. It was one of the guys in the room. Let's just call him Greg. Oh, fellow Canadian, huh? Hey? We get talking. He goes, I'm from Toronto. You worked in the CFL? My best friend is Jeffrey Orridge. I said, maybe don't mention my name. Utah Darren writes in, he says, John Gruden will not get back to the NFL, but I think he will definitely coach somewhere again. By the way, Starter made the best gear. But that's the thing. I literally gave him the jacket off my back because he didn't have any rider gear. And then when he got fired, he kind of Harry carried himself. So can I get that coat back? You're not going to be needing it. And he's like, I don't even know where it is. Oh, glad it meant a lot to you. Even had that S Starter zipper, you know. Producer Corey says, go beat him up. It would be a quick fight. Navy Don says, the chip on the shoulder about Toronto is not just about the dismissal of the CFL. Oh, I know, guy, but I feel bad for you. You shouldn't walk around so upset all the time. That's all I'm saying. BW says, UFC joining Paramount Plus. No extra charge to watch pay-per-view. Personally, I think that will change before the contract kicks in. Well, here's the thing. I was talking to a team owner just the other day, and at this stage of my life, this advanced stage of my life, I said, I'm not a general. I'm a soldier. I said, you guys do what you want. I don't care about the money. I just pay me, and I'll do my thing. I.e., to sit here and think about what they're making off the pay-per-view, which obviously is a lot, versus what they're going to make from Paramount Plus, $1.1 billion per year. You still have to pay for Paramount Plus. Thank God. I mean, I got everything to watch Landman and Yellowstone. So I got Paramount Plus. But streaming's where it's at, brah. And I'm actually really happy that I've reached this point in my life where I don't sit and worry about the finances anymore. That's for the guys like Jim Lawson to worry about, or the guy that I was talking to. Whatever, you guys figure it out. You clearly have it in hand. I'll just be over here doing my thing. Everybody's happy that way. 902-518-3033. Oh boy, Darren in Melfort writes in and he says, can you buy RP show swag anywhere? Oh, Joe. He's got some things in the hopper. And I mean, days, some really nice stuff. And days away from, I think, launching this the swag. T-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, coolers. Yeah. It's been a while getting this ready to roll, but I've seen the inventory. What's up? What'd you say, 2 minutes? Good. He says I'm good. You guys with your talk about the troughs, I have no idea. Yeah, I know. My mind just got blown. These guys are talking about using troughs. I won't even get into why. So yeah, I don't know who's going to be on tomorrow. I'm waiting to hear back from Todd Stottlemyre. Like I say, I'm booking the guests now, so you might have noticed a bit of a change in the guests. Jim, my kind of guy. Todd Stottlemyre, my kind of guy. And before you go saying something, Tori Gurley's my kind of guy too. That's why we had him on last week. Maybe we should get a female on. Who would that be? We have 22 hours to concern ourselves with that. We'll be live from here, the Golden Ticket Sports Center tomorrow. Thursday at Theo's Golf Classic in Calgary, and then back here Friday for a Football Friday. Sure, it would be nice to take a vacation. I see some of the other hosts on Game Plus are doing that. Jason Page. But hey, we're not exactly splitting atoms here. I can do 2 hours a day of sports talk. Jeremy says, you booked the guest, get Tom Brady. Haha. Not a bad idea. Ryan McCarthy in upstate New York. You yourself have a great day, Ryan, from the No Credentials Required podcast. Thanks, everybody, for showing up. I really enjoyed the program today. We'll see you tomorrow here on Game Plus. Now I'm the whore and the pimp. That's where the money is.
How about that?